Hold on. Looks like the broadcast is deleted from Facebook. Stream on Facebook. Okay, who cares? And yes, we're already live. All right, we'll get that edited out. That's why you know it's live. All right. So this is Matt Bertram. This is a Business Houston podcast. I'm here with Austin Goins of CertaPro Painters of West University. Austin, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Couldn't be better. Thanks for asking.
Well, Austin, you know, the housing market is just blowing up right now. There's a lot of work, a lot of remodeling going on. There's a lot of new builds happening all throughout Houston. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I was in the corporate world for 30 plus years in upstream oil and gas, and decided that I wanted to take control of my future and do something different and build a business. It kind of had been a thing that I wanted to do. So 5-6 years ago, I took a leap of faith and I bought this franchise. CertaPro is a franchise operation. We've been around about 35 years. We are the largest residential repaint company in the world. And we will do about $1 billion across 650 franchisees. What separates us, the kind of the men from the boys in this scenario, is we have a process by which we paint everything. And whether you're painting kitchen cabinets in Houston, Texas, or Hartford, Connecticut, or Tacoma, Washington, everybody covers the floors. They cover the appliances, how we apply, what's the process, sanding, priming, whatever it may be. We all follow the same process. So it allows us to be consistent. It allows us to establish standards. We carry $2.5 million worth of liability and workman's comp insurance, so if something bad happens on the job, it's our nickel, not yours. But we think all this is just part of being a professional contractor at the end of the day. We provide a 2-year warranty. Which is extremely rare. A bona fide 100% contract is delivered to the customer with terms and conditions. And it lays out what they'll do, what we'll do, and what we're responsible for. So this has been the most flew all around the world in the upstream business. This is the most interesting thing I've ever done in my life, and it's provided me quite a bit of free time with my 15-year-old daughter, and that's one of the great positive things about this.
Awesome. Like I really, you know, you're kind of hinting at, you know, hiring somebody maybe local or somebody that's kind of like fly by night to a degree.
Right.
Looking at that versus a really established process. I mean, what I know about like franchises is they really have a system down that they're able to scale. They're able to provide that consistency. So I think that's extremely important. And like if you're, you know, going to get food at a restaurant or you're looking to have your house painted, you really want to know that it's going to be a good job. And also when you read reviews online, you want like standardization. And now you got that across the United States. You got a big company backing you, like you said, being bonded, having, the support from corporate to be able to do what you need provides a lot of safety or some relief or confidence in knowing that you're going to have your job done and have it done right. Can you tell me a little bit about how long you've been doing the franchise for, and why you decided to pick this franchise over something else coming from, say, upstream oil and gas?
Well, this is entering my 6th year. My wife came home from work one day and I said, I got some good news and some bad news. And she goes, what's that? I said, the good news is I quit my job. And she goes, what's the bad news? And I said, well, the good news is, before you hear the bad news is, the good news is I'm going to go buy a job. And I said, and the bad news is I don't have a clue what that is. I know it's not going to be in food and it's not going to be in retail. And outside of that, I don't care what it is. And I did want a lot of employees. And so I had dabbled in, I flipped some houses. I bought a demolished home in the Heights and completely gutted it and redid it. So I kind of always dabbled in this end of it.
Uh-huh.
And to your point, when I started looking and I thought about when it was positioned to me, the problems I had with painters and what was the difficulties that I had, it seemed that CertaPro had them all answered. And then the forcing me to carry a large volume of interest gave me peace of mind. We all background check and we drug check. And they were holding us to a standard. And it wasn't like, well, here's the bucket of paint to do your job. And there was a significant amount of training. So I had about 160 classroom hours of training before I went to do my first estimate. So.
Oh no, Austin, we're getting a little choppy with the broadcasting here. I don't know if you can still hear me. I heard most of that. But it sounds like you had a really you had an affinity for it. You enjoyed it. You did it as a hobby, and you were able to kind of turn that into kind of a lifestyle business, is what it sounds like.
Yes.
And with the support and the process already put together. So I think that is phenomenal. And I think that finding something that you enjoy doing is so important with whatever career path you choose. It's an interesting transition. And, I think the housing industry is a great industry to pick. It really hasn't been affected from what I've seen as much as other industries with COVID. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit about how maybe you've been impacted positively, negatively, differently by COVID?
Yeah, good question, Matt. The COVID has been a little bit of an interesting journey because and we see it in public, right? There's some people that want you to adhere to a certain standards of, cleanliness and whatever from a job site perspective. And some people think it's foolish. I mean, and you've got everything in between. What it has forced us to do is to be more cognizant that when we're going to paint an interior, this is the people's house. We are on the inside. And they're sensitive. And so, we're wearing masks. Usually we do wear shoe coverings. 55% of the time, people don't care. Now they care. And we're sanitizing. Now, the interesting thing is we had got a lot of paint jobs for people that were sitting in their house for 4 or 5 months and decided after looking at the walls for 4 or 5 months, they needed to be repainted. So we got business, that necessarily wasn't in the viewfinder at the start of the year. But it's also begs the question, or the fact that we're 35 years old and the fact that we're a national organization and the fact that we have policies and procedures and that it is building peace of mind, and the fact is, the people like the idea that we have a hand sanitizer sitting at the side of the front of the door. So if a guy goes in, he's sanitizing his hands, and then he's supposed to be putting on gloves, and then we go in and paint. So, and the other thing, the winter storm of last month, or almost a month and a half ago, has also changed the business tremendously. And so we're seeing, I'm seeing almost as much damage due to the storm as I did with Harvey. So it's a little surprising. and bigger, more damage per site. It's like I had one client that went to his in-laws and lost a water pipe in the fourth floor roof ceiling of his townhome. And when he came back on Friday, every floor was ruined. And
Wow.
So, but that now it's warming up. It's a different animal because some of these sites we're walking in now have mold. So we have to do a mold retention. Then we have to, we're having to demo a lot more and sanitize a lot harder. And but I do believe, Matt, that this is the new norm. I don't think we're going to, I don't think we'll ever get out of wearing masks. We may get a little bit more liberal with it, but I still think that when it comes to walking into people's house, we're just being held to a different level. And I think that's the new norm. So
yeah, no, I can certainly see that. I'm sure that COVID's still going to be around with us for a while. So tell me a little bit about, because we were talking in the pre-interview a little bit about the franchise that you purchased and kind of the area you're focused on. Can you maybe speak to kind of the area you're focused on and maybe what the ideal customer looks like for you?
Yeah, so we're protected within the CertaPro corporate structure by zip codes. And I have 31 zip codes, but as I say, the meat and potatoes of my zip code is the West University, Meyerland, Bel Air area, and the Med Center. So our average customer usually has a house in value of excess of like $450,000. They have a disposable income of average household income of $195,000, and that's across the globe. Now, in this city, since the way Houston grows is by acquiring small cities, the demographics between Westview and Meyerland and Sharpstown is so vastly different. People in certain areas will pay for quality paint jobs. And this is, it's in any area. Some people don't put a big value on the paint job. You go to the store, you grab a bucket of paint, slap it on the wall, you're done. Well, I sold software to engineers for 30 years, technical software, and I thought that was a technical sale. Get into painting. It is ridiculously technical, and you really need, so when you walk in to paint a house and it's a stucco house, you can have a conversation about stucco moving and what kind of product you can apply to acerbate that process from happening. How do you manage that? What steps do you need to do after the fact? And people will pay for that expertise. And that's what we bring to the table. The second thing is that, as I tell them, they ask me, well, sometimes they go, well, you're expensive, and why should I buy from you? And I go, because I live in your turf. And the last thing I want to do is be standing in the checkout line at Randall's and have you bend in my ear about a bad paint job. It's just not, life's too short. And that's kind of, people are aware of, they'll not pay for that, but they like that. They like the fact that someone's frank with them. That someone will educate them. It's ease, and we are open book when it comes to what we do and how we do it and what we charge for it. I do believe that the more truthful I am, the better it is building long-term customers.
Yeah.
And
And kind of speaking of that, and I think we were also talking in the pre-interview about reviews. You got a lot of great reviews. You got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Trust is extremely important. Can you tell me a little bit about what being an accredited member of BBB means to you?
prior to digital media, being an accredited company with Better Business Bureau was a big deal. I mean, because it was the only one out there. And what I have found that, everybody, let me think, I think at my percentage is 87% of my leads come digitally, which is just a ridiculous, but that's lumping a whole bunch of things together. And they all love to check your references. The interesting thing about it is every time that I get a lead off of comes off of Better Business Bureau, they aren't looking for anybody else. They're not going to, they are not. I mean, I just painted a job 2 weeks ago and the guy goes, you're A+ or correct, rated with Better Business. That's all I do business with, people like you. He said, I went out there and everything else online told me exactly why you got the rating you have with the Better Business Bureau. So, I mean, I've got a contract and the sole reason I have this contract is because of my ranking with Better Business Bureau. So there's a section of folks that the A+ rating with Better Business Bureau is kind of the holy grail. And they know that you've stood the test of time and that this isn't a bunch of hocus pocus. It's, it's meat and potatoes kind of stuff. So that's, and I'll be honest with you, when I signed up for it, I was like, okay, yeah, well, Better Business Bureau. It was, out of all the things I've done marketing wise, and whether it's direct mail or whatever, this is being accredited with the Better Business Bureau has been very surprising to me. The response, and I had one guy, literally one of the first lead I got off of it, and he called me up and he said, I went over there and gave him a quote, and I'm leaving. Next day he calls me and goes, I want you to come paint my house. And I said, okay, fine. He goes, the keys will be in the mailbox because my wife and family are out of town. And I'm like, you've met, he goes, well, he said, you got an A+ rating with Better Business, so you got to be a reputable guy. And so it's been surprising how much credence people put in that A+ rating, and it really does pay big benefits because every one of them recommended me to somebody else, every one of them that I've gotten. So
yeah, no, I mean, you really, when you're talking about like internet presence and that sort of thing, it's all about expertise, which we talked about, authoritativeness and trust. And really, that's really what the Better Business Bureau is about, is trust. And, CertaPro Painters of West University, I'm looking at your listing right now, A+ rating. You have a lot of customer reviews on there. I think that really says something. I think, when you're looking for a painter, you're looking for someone to trust. If you don't have that direct referral, people kind of go to the internet, right? And they kind of aggregate those referrals and decide by that and kind of lean on what everybody else's experience has been. So I think it's extremely important. So just talking about kind of what you've learned over the last couple of years, is there any tips out there related to if someone's looking to paint their house? What are some things they might need to look for? What are some really good tips that you thought might be good to share with someone that might be in the market?
I will first, the flippant answer is hire a professional contractor. I would hire a contractor that has a contract and not an invoice.
Uh-huh.
I would make sure they had insurance, and I would do a deep dive on the insurance, because every painter walk in and he'll have $50,000 worth of insurance. Well, when you kind of rip the Band-Aid off, it's $2,500 per incident. So if a painter spills a bunch of paint on your hardwood floors, $2,500 ain't going to go for on that. I think being, can they educate me? What is their, because I usually ask a lot of questions. First thing with someone, I always ask questions. It's like someone, someone goes, I'm selling my house and I want to repaint it. And I go, why? I mean, I walked away from jobs. Why? Because there's a chance that not like your accessible beige color house, and they're going to repaint it. It's going to happen. But tell me a little bit about your lifestyle. Do you have pets? Do you have children? It can change the type of paint you use. Do you want to wash your building? So things that ask questions. Insurance. Are the painters or the contractors? Are they vetted? So we do background checks on our painters. We do drug tests on our painters, and that kind of is the cut. When you look at professionalism and a professional contract, I think that's it, right? You have a contract. Are they educated? Do they have insurance? And do they show up?
No, I like that. I like that. So Austin, kind of wrapping up. Let everybody know what's the best way to get in contact with you. How should they check you out? All that sort of thing.
Super. Okay. Well, you can reach out to me you can reach out to me by email, agoins@CertaPro.com. I have a Facebook page. I also have I got a page on the Better Business Bureau site, and you can check out CertaPro Bel Air, or you can go to the 800 number, and I just forgot my 800 number. It is. I
got a number here: 713-440-0544. That's
yes.
CertaPro.
So that number, Matt. Thank you for that. Nice catch. That dial calls into our 800 number. So whether or not it'll be answered 24/7.
Okay, so go to CertaPro.com if you're in you said Bel Air, you said West University. Where was the other big area?
Meyerland, West University, Med Center, everything kind of south of the West Park Toll Road and 59 inside Beltway 8. Big turf.
All right, well, we'll go check it out. Austin, thanks so much for having you on.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, bye.
See you. Bye.